And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to another week of the Sparkling Tuna Cup number 46. I'm, of course, your host, ZvP, and with me, I'm joined by these amazing players, the lovely people in chat, and welcome, everyone. Welcome to our weekly open tournament. At one point, this was a bi-weekly, but now it is back to a weekly every single Sunday. We have you covered with some StarCraft, with some tuna action. The tuna, papi, the tuna. Let's go, papi, let's go. As we have our first matchup, we have our first series, and spawning. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner. Of Alcyone, we have our red Protoss player representing Storm Gaming. It is MindelVK. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have as opponent, we have the blue Zerg player from the land of the UK, from the land of England, representing Platinum Heroes. It is Eva. Let us go. We have a ZvP to kick things off. !B in the chat. The bracket is live. The bracket is up and running. Recommend checking out the bracket yourselves because there are a lot of really good matches that are currently ongoing. I had a hard time picking and choosing between which one we wanted. We have players from all around the world. We have players from Korea in Honmono and Nightmare. We have players from Europe, such as these players right here. We have plenty of variety as well. We've got Nick Ratch, we've got Geralt, we've got Cristiano, we have Art. Plenty of Polish Protoss players are getting involved as well. And yeah, we're back with our weekly dose of Tuna StarCraft. It's amazing, it's beautiful. I did see someone in the chat, someone was asking, yo, who came up with the name? It was a joint effort by the people here at the Cranky Ducklings, and as you should know, we have our events named after animals, named after some, water-based animals. Our first tournament was called the Sea Duckling Open, that was made back in 2017, followed by Master Swan Open, so we had the duck, we had the swan, followed by the Grand Platypus Open, and the platypus, it's close enough to a duck, it's an Australian duck, if you will, and then from there, we have made the Sparkling Tuna Cup and the Tenacious Turtle Tussle as well. Look at the tuna. It's beautiful. It's amazing. But there is a backstory behind the reasoning for the tuna. It's a deep cut. It's a deep cut. If you know StarCraft, then you would be familiar with it. But it is a play on Dongwon. Dongwon was or is a can of tuna brand in Korea. As a result, there are players called Dongwon that had tuna memes made about them, like the Tuna Terran, which is Ryung. His name is Dongwon. Likewise with Shin Dongwon, which is Hydra, the South Korean Zerg player, or now the retired Zerg player. But alas, there is ties there when it comes to the Korean scene. The reason why specifically we went for it as well is because we made this tournament when Olima League was shutting down. And if you remember, Olima League, it was basically like the KSL. Olima League was a weekly open tournament based to support the Korean region and the Korean scene. Basically, as Olima League was dying out many years ago, that is when we started the Sparkling Tuna Cup. So we did have some Korean references as a result, not just the tuna itself, which is a Korean reference, but also the sparkling. If you were watching GSL many years ago, one of the prominent sponsors of GSL was sparkling water, sparkling cider, if I'm not mistaken, or some kind of sparkling drink. There were a lot of ads or a lot of memes made about it, so yeah, that's where the term sparkling, we kind of brought it from some of the old GSL memes as well. So all ties in Korean StarCraft, and hey, we even have some Korean players competing here tonight as well. So yeah, that is the origins of the name of the tournament. As we're gonna be getting into our game, sending out a couple of links. It is gonna be a Void Ray first here out of MindelVK. Is gonna shut down the initial Overlord. Is gonna get a kill here. Is gonna supply block Eva. At the same time, Lings, they do get across the map. They do hit the third base, and we're looking for a cancel. Oh, and we do barely force a cancel as well. Very nicely done. Eba, he will disrupt the opener here of MindelVK. Thankfully, it was a cancel, not a kill. From here, with our Void Ray-based opener, we can hide our tech, and we can see what the tech is. That is a Twilight Council. I don't see a Forge. I don't see a Robo. This looks like Lava Depths. Oh boy. Now, thankfully, Eva's playing safe here at the 420 mark. We're going to be throwing down a safety Roach Warren to amass a Roach army of our own. Roaches alongside Lynx as well to try to keep up here with any kind of aggression that MindelVK has to offer. Again, Glaive Adepts are not impossible from here, or they're not out of the realm of possibility. So Eva, I'm sure it's in the back of his mind. That's why we already have that Roach Warren in production a lot earlier than normal. Oracle does slip into the main base. Queens are in position. We get one drone kill so far. Oracle is forced back. So far, so good. Also, my apologies. I assumed there was going to be Glaive Adepts. It is not. We're rushing to a very fast charge. And this should be for a bit of an earlier charge timing from MindelVK. Now, we are following it up with a later Forge, and I imagine later tech, like a Templar Archives, and potentially a Robo for Immortal production. There's that Robo now on the way. But that is going to be for a follow-up push following the initial charge lots. So a very cheeky, aggressive build here out of MindelVK. We'll see if we can get away with it. Meanwhile, Lings, they do try to go surround here on the Adept, and they will not get it. The Adept does fall back to the safety of the shield battery, does manage to keep alive, does manage to survive, as we do see Eba trying to go for a scout behind this. It looks like, as he's stuck at home, he doesn't want to be caught off guard here by what his opponent has to offer, so we are going for that Overlord speed, going for Pneumatized Carapace, going for a scout into the main. Queens are able to keep their base alive. 3 more drones go down. The Oracles, they barely survive as well. Skirting between the bases, there goes the Overseer, as we did mention. Now that Overlord speed is done, we're going for a full scout of the main base, and we should get eyes on the follow-up tech. The fact that we have opted to delay some of our upgrades, delay our tech in favor of charge, and there we go. The charge lots are slowly amassing at the third. Oh, no Spore at the third base of Eba. There is no Spore. 6 drones go down. Oh, this is banking up. This is adding up here. Becoming a bit much. Overseer does get eyes on the Zealots, so now Eba should know that it's not Blink. Should be aware that it's going to be a charge lot based composition instead. And Mindel has yet to pull the trigger. We're going to be taking up instead. Interesting choice here. I think a big reason for this is because Eba already has a roach-based army. Like, he's already got a pretty sizable force. Mindel does recognize that, so he's going to be skipping Warpins. He only has a handful of Zealots here to defend, and he's taking up into Archons, into Immortals, into +1. He's just working towards a later game. This Void Ray is going to be recalled. Back across the map, Eba still just saturating his bases, getting his forward base up and running as well. He's been stuck defending up until now. And yeah, the game is going to settle. I mean, we're on Alkion. It is a much larger map of the map pool, much known for its late game, much known for its macro. So outside of a certain timing here, we should be able to settle into a 4 and then 5 base setup. Gold is on the way. We do see that MindelVK is making a prism though. With this Warp Prism, with these Archons and Charge Lots, we may decide to move out. We may decide to push. Well, Overseer is going to be forced back. Changeling's trying to get a read on things as well. We can see that Eba is still sticking with Ling, Bane, Roach, Ravager. Has been able to, or is still working towards Baneling speed. Is still taking in that direction. Does check, does confirm that there is a 4th base. Didn't see the base itself, but did see the army and the pylon. So Eba does know. And here we go. Now MindelVK is pushing. As a reminder, the upgrades for Mindel are delayed. They are later than normal, unfortunately. Just because of his build, just because of the earlier charge that he went for, as we saw, didn't really lead into anything. And is going to be able to shut down some of these Banelings before they do more for him. But that's a lot of Banelings. That's a massive amount of Banelings. They do crash in. Not the best trade here against the Archons, but we will clean this up. Yeah, the Archons are going down. I love that we don't waste the Banelings on them either. Yeah, we clean up the Zealots instead, and MindelVK gets completely shut down. At the same time, we have Zealot run back here at the 3rd base. We almost get the Queen, but almost is not good enough. As Eba will clean up those Zealots. Cleans up the army. Oh, a bit of a move command there out of MindelVK is going to bleed out some of these Zealots as well. They are being slowed down. And Eba's about to max out. He's about to max out here. He's going across the map, looking to knock down this 4th base. Aye, aye, aye. Oh, God, the Banelings! They're going for the Zealots. They send them away, and we connected the mineral line. The Roaches, they break through the stack defense. They depower the shield battery and the cannon as well. And alas, there just barely is not anything left here. We have broken on through. There's a handful of Zealots remaining. We reset the Archon count, the Immortal counts. Void Ray and Oracles are doing what they can, but this base will fall. That's going to be a kill on the Nexus. And we're not done. We're going to keep on pushing. And Mindel just cannot keep up. Again, his build was an interesting one to go into a faster charge and to not make use of it. Again, his entire tech tree was delayed as a result. It did take him a little bit longer to really get up and running, and unfortunately he had no map presence, no harassment outside of his oracles and void rays, which were doing damage. To be fair, the oracle harass was good, but there wasn't anything else, is the problem. And Eva was happily just droning and taking more bases, and eventually we reached this point where we are maxing out on 82 workers, 83 even. And Mindel back at her. We do have Storm, but we need time. The High Templar, they're not ready for their storms. They need a little bit more time here. Do need more time as we are pushing forward. Oh, storms are finishing. We do bait out a handful of them. There's 2 left. We're down to 1. And we're down to none. 0 storms remaining here. We should be able to get on top of this army. We do manage to warp in an extra wave of zealots though. No Banelings left over. Mindel holds. Mindel does hold on. More Banelings are on the way. Banelings are in production. You can see Eba getting ready for a higher form of tech with a Hive finishing up, Spire on the way as well. In case there was some Sky Toss, then Eba is going to be ready for it. Do love to see it. Is it going to be ready for that eventual Sky Toss? We can see though that it's not coming. We're still stuck with a Ground Toss army. Speaking of, there's a Fleet Beacon. But the Fleet Beacon starts as the Spire is more than halfway done. Is more than halfway done at this point. Eba has full map control. We're just engulfing the map in creep. Mindel is on 4 bases. He does have his 4th back up and running, but taking a 5th is going to be a tough ask. And even then, Eba could just break into that 4th base here and now. I'm not so sure how I feel about this. Eba's going for a Hydra 10. I feel like you've already got a Spire. May as well, yeah, take into a greater Spire and work towards Broodlords. Here it looks like Eba wants to maybe work towards Hydra Lurker Viper first. But it's kind of a late tech switch and a late Hydra Den. As carriers are on the way. Greater Spire is spotted. Prism slips into the main base going for a big warp in. And the warp in will finish. Zealots take over for the Greater Spire. But we have Banelings. We do have Banelings. We clean up the Zealots. Good defense there by Eba. You know, we have a Baneling drop headed towards the natural. Not the most saturated base here, so not the most amount of damage is available there. Ooh, when the Void Rays are in position, we shut down the Dropper Lord. Making 3 Tempest at a time as we have a Lunker Den on the way. And MindelVK stabilizing. He's getting there. The carrier is revealed. The reality is that MindelVK can't really be aggressive. He can't really push anytime soon, but he's getting into Sky Toss. He's building up towards his death ball of an army. We're getting there. As we are slowly taking a 5th. Meanwhile, Eba on the other side, on the flip side, is getting his Broodlords up and running. 6 Broodlords already. I do like this just because we don't actually need that many Corruptors yet. It's only 3 Tempest and 1 Carrier. But we should be reinforcing with Corruptor. Likewise, we should be working on Corruptor upgrades, as right now they're going to be 0-0. Prison does fall. But 0-0 Corruptor is not going to be ideal here. So we have another Bane Drop moving in. The center of its base is getting fortified with cannons, shield batteries. That is concerning. Mothership, no reaction! Ooh, late reaction, but it looks like we will keep this mineral line alive. Whew. Just barely. 1 probe goes down, so many of them in the red there. survive. Behind this, we're just making more carriers. The Sky Toss is now well underway, definitely. Eba just now working towards the second Spire for double upgrades. And I'm impressed. Mindel, like, he's weathered through the storm. You know, he was able to reclaim his 4th, get a 5th, max out, and now he's building up a bank. And the reality is that I would probably say that, yeah, Mindel, he has a more efficient army right now. Eba has, sure, some Broodlords and some Corruptors, but no Spellcasters. A lot of supply tied up in these Roaches. You can see him killing his own units. Yeah, and Eba, he knows he has to get rid of these Roaches. They're hurting him more than anything. Roaches are being thrown away. As we get rid of the Roaches, we're getting into Ultra Infestor. Interesting. Looking at the upgrades. To have 3-0 for the Ultras, soon to be. Decent upgrades for them. Got +1 air attack on the way as well, or flyer attack for Eba. Big Roach run by here. We do get into a mineral, and then again, we want to get rid of this. We want to throw away the supply, ideally trade it with some workers. We do pick up the cannons. Do pick up at least some of the cannons. Eba sharking around. It looks like he will come across the Void Rays. Gets 1. Gets 2. Not sure if we needed the yoink, but regardless, did get them. Lings, they unborrow, they get into the middle line. Probes are finally going down. 8 workers do 4. We do borrow the Lings. Quick moves out of Eba. Behind this, 3 more Stargates. More carriers are amassing. Do we have any High Templar? We do. We have 4 High Templar. They're here on the front lines. But yeah, the problem is that Eba can't really engage. The reason why is just because, like, the upgrades are lacking here. The composition's still lacking as well as we're building up towards it. Like, Eba did so well in the mid game, but his transition into, like, Spire Tech and Hive Tech in general was a little bit shaky, was delayed. As a result, Mindel was very much in this. Broodlords and Ultras have been revealed. They have been revealed. The Mindel's fully aware he should be getting into more Robo Tech, and there it is, 2 more Robos on the way. This is going to be for Immortals. Immortals are ideal against Ultras. So you want enough Immortals to protect your High Templar. We could probably do with some more Archons as well. Speaking of, Archons are on the way. And this is it, the death blow of an army, almost perfect. Just away from more upgrades. Clearing up as much creep as we can. At the same time, Broodlords, they push towards the gold. That is going to be 12 Broodlords with 1-1. Get the Revelation off. Broodlords have to back up. You manage to get a fungal at the same time. Slozen gets thrown out. We get the Mothership. -300, -300. The Archons, they were out of position. Again, to avoid those abductions, we need the High Templar and Archons to be a little bit more proactive. If they go too far out, though, that's where the Ultras come in. That's where you can surround, you can punish. The purpose of those Ultras are to eat storms, to close the distance, to get on top of the High Templar, to shut them down, to allow for the rest of the army to wreak havoc. We got 1 Oracle, not bad. Get a Tempest as well. Ultras are shocking around, looking for some damage. And they're going to force a reaction here out of MindelVK. He has to be very careful with how he splits up his army. He's actually bringing everything back home. And he's being dragged out of position. Here come the Broodlords. Duke of the Revelation. Big storm on the Broodlords. High Templar does go down. We get a fungal. The Interceptor's less than ideal. And the Ultras are still wreaking havoc. They break through the base. And Mindel just unable to split up his army. Ooh, but that's a lot of Archon shots going off. We go to volleys overall. Meanwhile, 13 probes full. The base still survives. And the Ultras are forced back. Again, it's just Mindel trying to turtle, trying to defend, taking another base, getting a sick. Now, what's scary is that Ebo wasn't checking. As Ebo was pushing in, he wasn't checking for another Nexus, and he has no idea on this base gets up and running, and it should have been punished. It should have been contested. Eba didn't know. So this is really scary for Eba, actually. It's this is a really terrifying moment here. Because Eba does have a bank, true, but he's on a low drone count, so is MindelVK. Any additional base mining here for the Protoss is ideal. That just gives them such an edge. We're just caught unawares. We're in for a long series, Navi. Based on what happened earlier, I was not expecting the game to go quite like this, I'll be honest. Okay, the Broodlords have arrived. Take down the cannon. Soon to be another. We do see behind this, the Storms do zone away the Corruptors once again. The Tempest, no! A bit of mispathing there. 2 Tempests go down. And a Carrier. Big missteps there from MindelVK. Does have to rebuild. That was a pretty big slip up. Broodlords are pushing in. Oh, they do get a couple of fungals. Likewise, the counter feedbacks as well. Big storm on the Broods. Do we have another storm left? It looks like we do. But the High Templar, they're going down one after the other. We dive on the army. Big power bomb as well. And it looks like Eba, he's swallowing up this Protoss army. Again, the fungals and the power bombs were insane. I say that we're running out of Corruptors. Oh, just barely we cleaned them up. But we lost so much. It's what? 3 Carriers, 2 Tempests. MindelVK's supply plummets. And Eba's remaxing. Eba, he's already remaxing. As that was just a brutal fight that MindelVK took. It wasn't just that, but all of his High Templar, they got caught out by the fungals. We saw that, I want to say there were 2 storms left, and High Templar died before they could do anything. And with that, Eba takes a massive fight, and he's looking to take this first game as well. It's a big loss from MindelVK, and he has a lot of rebuilding to do. My tries to slip in. At the same time, we catch out the Tempest. No, we catch them out. 1 Tempest go down, a 2nd Tempest, and soon to be a 3rd. Oh, we barely do get it. Big pickups there by Eba. Again, Protoss is strength in numbers. You know, Protoss death balls are a thing for a reason. We're being caught left and right. We're being caught on our own. But now he can just keep on pushing towards this base towards the bottom right. He already took down the gold, and now he's going for the new 5th. 1 sick. And here we go. One final stand here for Mindel, but he gets Neuraled. Big Neurals here on the carriers. Storms get thrown down as well. Infestors are going down. Well, there's just too much on the ground to support. The Ultras, they wreak havoc here on the Stalkers, and the Corruptors are able to focus on the carries one after the other. GG gets called, and Eba will take game number 1. Ooh, GG. A pretty grueling game number 1 there. I mean, Eba initially had a really strong start. Remember when he was able to max out with Lingbane Roach Ravager, when he broke the 4th base, I thought the game was going to end then and there. I'll be honest, I thought that was it, that's all he needed. But no, MindelVK, he survived, he turtled, he was able to get his 4th, his 5th, his 6th base up and running. Unfortunately, we saw too many times MindelVK just being pulled apart left and right, and was getting picked apart by Eba. Again, really well done there by Eba. And Mindel, unfortunately, just was not able to stabilize. Was close, though. Was close. I mean, did max out, that is true, but that was a brutal final fight. Not the one we just saw, but before that, when he initially lost his maxed out army. It was a brutal moment. And with that, Eba has a 1-0 lead. I'll fix up the logo. Bavaria says, Eba, yeah, papi. Yeah, that's his name, papi. That's his name. Fun fact, almost the entire round 1 is completed during this game. Oh, let's go. I mean, it was a long game. Jesus. And here we go, we're getting into game number 2, and spawning in the bottom right hand corner of Oceanborn, we have our red Protoss player representing Psystorm Gaming. Down in this series, looking to bounce back, it is MindelVK. And spawning in the top left hand corner, we have as opponent, we have the English Zerg player. The blue Zerg representing the Platinum Heroes, it is Eba. Let's go. Also, I just noticed in the Twitch chat, I hate Protoss, I hate live VIP, it's the Eba. So for those that are curious, as we were getting ready for the tournament, Eba, he messaged me and he's like, Light, I have a request. I have one request for you, papi. I'm like, anything. He's like, give me a Protoss player. Give me Protoss. So something that's been happening every time Eba plays in our tournaments, and it is because in general online events are very Protoss heavy. Like there's a lot of Protoss players in among the GM and pro scene, and it's just very Protoss stacked tournaments. And he was just always playing against them whenever he signs off a Sparkling Tuna Cup, and he's a little bit sick of it. He's like, it's not a matchup that he quite enjoys. It's not a matchup that he enjoys. He's like, but don't give me a Protoss, please. I'm like, what do you want? Mate, everyone's Protoss here. What do you mean? you can't avoid them forever. Este Eva, shaking my head. He was trying to reason with the brackets, pleading for a Zerg or Terran opponent. But alas, you know, at the end of the day, we have no control over that. You know, we have no favoritism here when it comes to how the bracket is generated. It is seeded, by the way, for those that are curious. It is seeded based on historic performances in our tournaments, as well as illegal act is seeded. And Eva, he got what he wanted. Protoss. Copium. Este Eva. Here we go. We're settling into game number 2. Whew. And yeah, as Kura did mention in the chats, we're almost done. We're almost done with all of round 1. I wouldn't be surprised if this is the final series to wrap up. As oh my god, we're done. We're done with the Stargate openers. This time, no Void Ray, no Oracle. It's going to be a Twilight Council opener at a MindelVK. Now, if you remember, in the previous game, I assumed it was going to be a Glaive Adept build. If you remember, it was Charge instead, and a very unorthodox build. Honestly, it put Mindel behind. It did put MindelVK behind. Here, with a straight-up Twilight Council opener, this should be a little bit more aggressive and a little bit more crisp. I'm feeling either Glaives or a Dark Shrine. Does depend on whether or not we pull out a gas. For now, 3-3. I'm leaning more along the side of a DT opener, but we'll see. Keep an eye on the gas income here. As the Twilight Council is now done, gases are continuing to be mined. Do have our Robo and second gateway on the way. And show us a Dark Shrine. There it is. Dark Shrine has been thrown down. Reason why we assumed it would be a Dark Shrine is because we have not pulled out a gas. If you're curious about the efficiency of 4-gate glaives, you do only need 4 workers mining gas, so 2 and 2 instead of 3 and 3. With excess gas, we can of course invest into more Dark Templar, and this is not an all-in, but it's a very aggressive build. The way this works is that we're going to be getting across the map with some DTs. We're going to be wreaking havoc. Once there is detection, once the DTs can no longer get any damage done, ideally we save the Dark Templar. Oh, as we do force cancel. We did accidentally start a bit of an earlier tech structure. But we do save the Dark Templar and morph them into Archons. And then we can go for some Archon drop harass as well. So there's layers to the aggression available to MindelVK. Are layers. Meanwhile, early Roach Warren here by Eba. That was what, around a 4-minute Roach Warren, maybe 350. It's run down early on, I imagine because he is of course aware that there was no Stargate, and he's getting ready for potentially Glaives or Dark Templar or Charge or anything of the sort. Very safe play here at Eba. Behind this, he's happily mining, happily droning as best he can. Saturating his bases. The Prism has arrived, and here come the first wave of Dark Templar. Morphing into Archons immediately, though. Very interesting. I mean, there is a spore at the natural. There's a spore in the main. There is a spore. There's spores everywhere. So, to be fair, we can't really get much done. But, yeah, MindelVK didn't even try. Didn't even try with those Dark Templar. The Archons have arrived. So far, they're being zoned away. Do have a transfuse available. The Queens, they stand strong. The Archons, yeah, they rotate around instead. Back at home, we have a Forge on the way. Immortal production has commenced. That is the Gateway Explosion, by the way. Oh my god. So we just made a choice. Instead of expanding, instead of taking a 3rd base, we throw down 4 more gates instead. That's going to be 8 gates in total. This screams 2 base all in. The Archons, they try to pick up a Queen in the main. Good clutch transfuse out of Eba. Does keep them alive. The Prism will back on off. And so far we haven't gotten much done. You can see here the trades. We've killed 3 Lings and nothing else. This Archon drop has not been worth it yet. Now, thankfully, the Archons are still alive. They have plenty of shields to work with, so we do retain our Archons. They can live to fight another day in the main army. They're denying creep at least as well, setting up for the eventual all-in. Speaking of, again, there's still no 3rd base. It is a straight-up 2-base all-in. So 2-base all-in at a MindelVK, it's going to be a timing with +1, with a heavy immortal count, with the War Prism to reinforce. Now, what's important is that Eba does have a link part at the 3rd base, and he should be checking the triangular 3rd as well. And once he does, he should recognize, sorry, the linear 3rd as well. And once he does, he should recognize that it is an all-in, and he should play it out as safely as possible. Did have a safety spine crawler on the way, does cancel. Let's go for the cancel instead. Archons are being zoned away. Eba will defend. And you can see he's checking, he's trying to figure out what's going on. I believe the sentries are spotted, and now we know what's happening. Again, it is almost a Soul Train-esque all-in from Mindel. Charge the Archon Immortal Sentry. A lot of this is going to come down to the force fields, going to come down to the positioning. Spine Crawlers are on the way. Banelings are on the way as well. Eba, he looks pretty secure. He's on 51 workers. He's building up quite a lot of Banelings to defend. Now it's all about the force fields, about how good the force fields are, and whether or not Eba can break them down fast enough, avoid them as well. We shall see. As ideally, Mindel, he wants to fight a portion of this army on its own. Banelings are coming in. Decent force fields, but the force fields, they get knocked down. Banelings, they connect with the sentries, they connect with the zealots. But we're still breaking through. We still have a lot of Immortals and Archons behind this. To say that the Archons are getting low. One Archon goes down. Managed to get one. And we're going for the other. Yes, Stalkers are getting picked off. We clean up the army. We run out of steam. We run out of buffer. And yes, we have killed 10 drones, but that is not good enough. Behind this, oh, it looks like we had a bit of harass here towards the left-hand side. It was cleaned up. MindelVK is down to 1 Immortal, going for a warping of another wave of Archons. And Eva's going for a counterattack. He checks. He does confirm there is still no third. But Eba, do we have anything at home to defend? Mindel's coming back in. Oh, that's a lot of Overlords. He gets 1, he gets 2, he gets 3. He gets 4. 4 Overlords go down. Eba, he's all in across now. He gets the Cybercore. Where's the detection? No shot. DTs, they go straight for the Ravagers. Third base is going down. Eba, without any detection, he's in a lot of trouble right now. Overseer is on the way. Back at him, he's hurting. He does bleed out 6 drones. Does bleed out 6 workers. The Overseer does arrive just in time, but we have dealt a lot of damage. Things are getting a little bit scary here. A little bit chaotic. Back at home, we clean up the army. We shut down the Immortals and the Archon just barely. GG gets called. And Eba will take the series 2-0, advancing on to the next round. GG. Oh my god, GG, well played. Congratulations here, congratulations to Eba as he does advance on into the quarterfinals. Whew, but that was a pretty tense series there. MindelVK so aggressive, so assertive, especially in that second game, going for the 2-base all-in and just doubling down on it as well, hoping that maybe Eba was droning up too much. Thankfully, Eba was playing very safe and secure. Once he realized that something was wrong, he didn't know exactly what was happening, but he was just staying on a low drone count, making sure he had Lings, Banelings, Roaches, and Ravagers. He had enough. Did have enough in the end. GG, well played. With that, we are going to be following Eba into his next series. We're going to be following Eba into the Americas, into his next opponent. Exclamation mark B. Exclamation mark B in the chat if you guys want to have a look at the back of yourselves.